I am resident of Hollywood for YouTube, Jules Sains. That's my buddy Alan Gallant. That's my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to review The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Season 4. This is Part 1 of Prince of Darkness and Part 2 of Prince of Darkness.
Yes.
So I like how they had a bubbling pool of water in this for the opening.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be because of the heat ray or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
big
heat
stripe.
prism, the light
The big red stripe that's painted down the set.
Yeah, it's like.
But it's its own language, and when you learn what that language is, you accept it.
Yeah, and we're talking 1967 here, and Man from U.N.C.L.E. had a representative language. There was an off-site in L.A. Area where there was a dirt road with eucalyptus trees on both sides of it. That stood in for every foreign country they ever went to.
Constant. Yeah, it was quite the tour of the 20th century backlot. Mm-hmm. And Century City. Century City gets a lot of nods in this.
Yes.
Coming up. Classic. And I think Century City could be seen from Waverly's office. I'm not certain. Season 4 was a really interesting season. And I think that provides some context to all of this. It's a wild episode. I call both of them together an episode because they are the same story. And I think it was released as a movie.
Yes,
cut them together.
One of the ones that were. Yes.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen this on the big screen. The thing about season 4, season 1 was pretty serious. Season 2 got a little more lighthearted. Season 3. Because they're on the Fox lot.
It was
and
like
they see exactly how Batman is being put together.
Yeah.
And how Batman is doing, and they think, that's what we need to do. So season 3 went insane. And it was not necessarily the most successful season artistically. I don't think the authorial intent was quite what they wanted it to be. And so
loaded with jokes and Ilya rolling his eyes a lot.
Yeah. Season 4, to me, is maybe one of the best seasons because they have the precedent of going wacky, but they wanted to be just a tad more disciplined. So for me, it's kind of a blend of a lot of the best of those seasons.
Yes, it's excellent because every once in a while you have this gob-stopping joke. But it doesn't kill the flow of the actual spy thriller kind of attitude.
This one's full of it. Dean Hargrove was having way too much fun.
He was.
Napoleon was Agent 69.
Yeah.
And then it's like the third way is known as Three-Way Inc. or something. I mean, come on, guys, really? Standards and practices. I think they were beyond standards and practices. I don't think it occurred to them.
Well, when they did the first pilot and turned it into a movie, there was a lot of sexual innuendo in it. Apparently, that they had to cut out. So apparently, the writers were into that early, but were then discouraged from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly came back to it in this episode.
Yes, they did.
All the Ukrainian brothers in this episode.
Oh yeah, it's insane. The same guy playing every one of them.
He's great.
He uses a slightly different voice with each one.
Yeah,
it's a tour de farce basically for the actor.
But it works in this episode to death.
Hey, actor sighting that you would know. Sid Haig is in the first part.
Yeah, is he? Where is he?
He's very young, and he plays one of the acolytes that Dillman kills because he didn't do something right.
Oh yeah,
feeds him the pill.
Well, seeing John Carradine in this was also terrific.
Oh, that was absurd. He just give me the check, and I'll burp and fart a couple of times, and we'll be in great shape. And they were. He delivered the attitude that they needed. So
the check was cashed before the attitude.
Oh, absolutely. He probably got paid in cash.
Yeah. too.
I'm a legend. Give me the money.
Yeah, that's all right. That's
And
straight.
he was a legend.
Norman
Straight
Felton is kind
cash.
of reaching for his wallet.
Yeah.
I also have some Sizzler coupons. I'll take them.
I'll take those too, but I still want the full fee.
Oh my.
Yeah, and because he had no lines, I kind of wonder if they got away with just paying him the least amount possible. I don't know.
Well,
They could have probably, but I suspect they paid him a little bit more than that.
Oh yeah, I would hope so.
To have him in the episode,
But to me, the two elements that really made the episode just take off like a rocket, so to speak, when you have John Carradine, that's wonderful. It's like, so this is the universe we're in. I get it. And when we're at the third way meeting, and all the go-go dancers and so on and so forth, and Bradford Dillman has this hilarious speech where he talks about, you're going to be assigned to your special attack squads, and this is the squarest American middle-aged audience possible.
Yes.
And you're going to be in charge of this and that assassinations, basically keeping the peace. And Dillman's having a great time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his whole he's great in that his attitude completely transforms when he's revealed at the end of the first episode as being the mastermind behind everything. He then sort of lampoons every Bond villain, going at that point, and does an excellent job of it. He plays it completely straight, so it's funny,
Yeah, and I love how you have a heist as a part of this movie, as a part of this movie's plot. That makes this makes the first episode even more fun when you have to recruit a guy who you don't trust, but the guy has a criminal record. It's like, okay, we'll wipe everything clean if you do this for us. And Robert Vaughn and David McCallum's chemistry is excellent.
Oh yeah, I mean, by this time they'd worked together for 3.5 years or something. And they actually, it was weird because McCallum actually, when he was first inserted into the universe, had a very small role in the pilot. He was not a prominent character in the pilot. He was there, but he wasn't a prominent character. And obviously something clicked. And his role was instantly expanded when it became a series. So their chemistry is definitely there. I think that they were socially attached as well. I think that they were friends outside of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You hear this stuff about Shatner and Nimoy and so on and so forth, and
which was kind of on again, off again. It could get terrible, but at other times they were very close. It was, because, they had some shared heritage and shared experiences,
I think they both went through the deaths of their fathers during the series.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And they were both from the Northeast, although, Boston and Montreal.
Yeah, Shat was a little further up, not that much.
Yeah.
They get all the security. They get out past the security while Robert Vaughn's character gets basically caught with intent.
Mm-hmm.
Him and the guy's wife are in the sandbox, or in this trapdoor, and the sand's filling the room, and all the cool shootouts you get in the opening, those tight corridors, is really fun too.
It's interesting to watch too. Bradford Dillman just stand aside and watch McCallum, beating the crap out of all these bad guys,
do the heavy
crap beat out of him, and saying, "Well, violence is your specialty," and it's not even lifting a finger to help him.
Yeah. And then later he caps somebody.
Yeah. Well,
there's a part of me that sort of wonders if they had in mind the idea that they could bring back the third way whenever they wanted to, as a substitute villain for Thrush.
Sure.
So it wasn't always Thrush.
Yeah. That was another thing too. Early on, the executive producers were afraid that Thrush was too close to Schmersh.
Oh, yeah.
And because there was a lot of Bond stuff there too. Apparently, there was a character called Mr. Solo in the first Bond film or the second Bond. I can't remember which one, but in one of those, the same time that they were producing this, and you know. Authorially, there was no problem at all, but with the producers of the film, they thought, well, we better not do that. As it turns out, there was no conflict whatsoever.
I think Goldfinger. I think he's one of the thugs.
There was a Mr. Solo in that, and as it turned out, Napoleon Solo ended up in that name stuck.
Well, now the title of the original series, this was developed by Ian Fleming.
Yes.
And the title of the series was going to be Solo.
Solo, that's right. And I think it would have made as good as a title as any. I think Man from U.N.C.L.E. turned out to be a heck of a lot catchier, probably.
Yes.
But, I think. But Solo would have probably made a decent title as well.
I think the movie Solo that later came out would have been better if it had been called Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man from U.N.C.L.E. sticks. I mean, it really catches your attention because, again, you're working for an agency. So, and it's not quite the same as MI6. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. In fact, it has no national affiliation at all.
No. It's almost like a. Also, they had to come up with a name of it eventually because. Again, the studio executives thought that the UN part of it would be confused.
Yeah, so it was United Network. United Network Command for Law Enforcement.
Yeah.
Enforcement. Yeah. I like coming up with spy organization acronyms. My favorite one I came up with off the top of my head was Vortex, Volatile Operations Response Team Executive Branch.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Very nice. Very, very nice. What's some of your favorite scenes from part one, guys?
Well, the second scene where he's visiting the monastery.
It's so absurd.
The traps that they're going through. It's just the heist stuff. And Bradford Dillman is kind of this weird hero of the episode. The thing that I think is just so cool about both of these is that they work very well together as a unit, and yet each half has its own identity and is entertaining in its own way.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing to pull off.
It is. And cliffhangers can be so corny at times. This one actually works.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt that Robert Vaughn knew just when to pull a wacky skull or something like that.
Yeah.
To freeze frame it on.
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite scenes, Alan?
The whole thing where Ilya's getting the crap knocked out of him and Dillman's just standing aside, folding his arms.
Yeah.
It's completely played straight, except for Dillman's attitude, of course, is cavalier and kind of silly. But it's pretty much played straight. And at this point, it also contributes to the surprise that the audience is going to have when they realize he's the mastermind.
Yeah.
So
he's at a religious cult convent sort of.
The three-way. Yeah. The third way, I mean.
The third one. It's like, what the hell? Like, this dude's like incredible.
But there were a lot of weird new religions and cults and things like that.
This was also at the time when this was shot. The Beatles, or George Harrison at least was starting to get into Hinduism, and he was telling people about it. Yeah. And Hare Krishnas were starting to happen at San Francisco airport, and places like that. So people, and it was the hippie culture. and the Summer of Love was happening. So you got all this stuff, like you say, all these different religious explorations were going on at that time. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, yeah. When did the Church of Satan was in the 60s? Wasn't it?
66.
It was.
Okay.
So around the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
66.
So yeah.
And there's a little bit of rhetoric in there that's LaVeyan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 The fact that you get a cool heist in this part one is really cool because I'm a big Thief fan. If anyone's ever played the Thief games. So to see a heist, to see sort of, and not know, to keep the audience, because I had never seen this before, to not know there's a twist coming. I mean, you get there working with a shady character, but you have no idea this guy's masterminding this whole thing.
Right.
Had you ever seen the show before?
No, I'd never seen
Oh,
it.
so what's your take?
Really, really good, really entertaining, and I like the pace of the show here too. It's not. I like how they introduce the acts. They're not letting you know what's going to happen, but it's really cool, and they go into it. I love how David McCallum's character is going in and out of like a vent like thing. He's getting all his stuff to make sure he doesn't get caught.
Sure.
And the head boss, Sid Hedwig's death. It is, here, take this pill, and the guy drops dead.
Yes, that's Sid Haig that dropped.
Yeah, Sid Haig. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the plot, the other twist in this is the guy's wife is working for Sebastian.
Yes. It turns out that she's actually Sebastian's wife.
Yeah. Yes.
So yes, all of this sort of double cross stuff is going on as well.
But my favorite thing in this whole bit that sort of is funny, but it doesn't ruin it at all. It is just the different Ukrainian men who keep. It's the same actor who keeps it here. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't ruin your action. The gags, it works, and I like how they eject him out of the car seat, and he's like, "L.A. traffic. This happens often.
All the time. And
all
he just
the
keeps
time.
driving. Yeah, it's and
think
people
that
from
happens-
LA were probably rolling in the aisles, knowing
Yeah.
exactly what he was talking
Yeah.
about. But well, Carol Lindley's great in this too because she's so out there. I mean,
always
she's
good
out there, and her reasoning behind this is she's this naive and she refuses to give in, so she ends up putting herself in danger, of course, all the time. But then at the end of it, it's like, okay, the boyfriend went home to mother. So she ends up with the third lookalike brother of her friend that was helping her to try to release her supposed husband, boyfriend, fiance, whatever he was. I guess I can't remember what he was, but yeah, it's
like he framed my husband. He framed my husband. It's like yeah, we know that.
Yeah, and your husband dumped you. Okay. it just lends a little bit of absurdity, but she's brilliant in that she's just completely open and bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and naive as hell the whole time, but she's also got spirits and a backbone and stick-to-itiveness. So she has really good attributes as well.
You know what's criminally underrated too in part two is when she's telling this to David McCallum and he's just walking in and he walks right out. Like, nope, I don't want to.
I've had enough of you.
That's genius.
Yeah, and when she shows up pretending to be Solo's wife, he's like, "Oh, all right, dear, go to your room." It's just, this pain in the tuchus is back again. It's not, they don't hate her. It's just that I don't want to deal with this. So
it's wrong place, wrong time, and it as the audience too.
Yes.
Patrick, what did you think, Ben? I'm sorry.
Of what?
Of of the
You guys
of
talk
the,
about a lot of things. You
sorry,
always say, what do you think? I
of,
never know
of
which
the
one.
of
Whole
the
shebang.
of the wife, the
Which wife?
That's the
the
thing.
one of the Ukrainian prisoner, that one.
Ah,
Well,
Carol Lindley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's wonderful. I'm a big
Great.
Carol Lindley fan, though. I mean, we got to see her in Poseidon Adventure a little while ago,
Yes.
and she's of course Kolchak's disturbingly attractive girlfriend
Yes.
in the Night Stalker movie,
Uh,
playing a more sober part than she often plays. I mean, she plays the ditz really well.
She's eccentric. She
Yeah.
plays a lot of eccentrics.
yeah. What's some of you guys' favorite effects from this episode, part 1?
Well,
An explosion every 30 seconds
Yeah.
at one point.
Everything blows up.
I thought that by today's standards, of course, the light prism effect was rather hilarious.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it within the standard accepted world that we're dealing with, and at the time, it did its job. I could have. I think they should have probably used charcoal paint or something instead of red paint for the burn trenches. But other than that, it's fine. You get the idea. It's a dangerous, world-stopping weapon, and this is what we're fighting against, at least at the top of the show.
The reaction of the scientist really plays it well once they get in there. He's talking about the light.
Yeah.
The red,
I should have never come here. I had a job as whatever it was, a salesman.
In advertising.
Advertising. He does.
The red water that you see at the beginning, it makes me. I don't know how many people remember this, but there was like this little laboratory thing you could buy as a kid, and like you took this like goo and it made the water red and bubbly and stuff. It was wicked looking bit because basically you were making some sort of weird jello.
Yeah.
I remember that vaguely.
Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, they had cloud chambers with radioactive stuff in them.
Yeah.
Which they promptly banned by the late 60s. But they did. You put your radioactive isotope in a cloud chamber. My oldest brother had one of those. So.
Oh my gosh. We were talking. Me and Patrick were talking about the director of this episode, Boris Segal. He died very mysteriously, Alan. If you don't know, he died basically walking into the rear of a helicopter while it was still running.
Oh, rotors.
And, he was partially decapitated. Now, me and Patrick were talking about this. I said, this is very suspicious. Did you ever hear this?
No, never have, actually. No. I wasn't really familiar with this guy.
Okay.
He's interesting. He's the director of Omega Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
He died shooting World War III, the Kathy Lee Crosby in World War III miniseries for ABC, which was their answer to The Day After. I think it broadcast in the same night.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain he is the father of author and social historian Peter Sagal and game show host Peter Sagal, as well as Katie Sagal, the actress from Married with Children and
who now goes by Katie Sagal. Yeah.
His death, he was killed in an accident during production, like Patrick said in the series World War III, when he was partially decapitated by walking into the tail rotor blades of a helicopter.
I mean, weirder things have happened on sets where people have been killed by gags. And I mean, we all know about what happened with the Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah.
Where helicopter actually crashed on top of a kid and Vic Morrow. And they finished filming that episode and stuck it in there anyway.
Yeah.
That was the John Landis scandal.
There's a good book about it called The Devil's Candy.
Yeah.
It's about the history of that.
I always thought Landis should have spent time in jail for that.
Yeah.
Was he pushing the schedule? Was that it?
Absolutely, and it wasn't a safe gag. It was not a safe gag.
Directors do some damnedest things.
They'll push actors to do shit sometimes,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, in this case, it ended badly. So.
Now you know who Vic Morrow's daughter is?
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten that. That's right. Who I also consider, she's odd to me, and that's probably because she's really good. Sometimes I just can't fathom her, and other times it's like total connection. And I think that
She's
has
one
to
of
do
my
with the
favorite
fact that
actresses.
she has a super wide range of weirdness that she can do. And she does. She does not shy, like Carol Lindley. She doesn't shy away from eccentrics. She did a fantastic job of the Algonquin.
Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle.
Yes, that she did. I thought she did a fantastic job with that. She actually sounded pretty much like Dorothy Parker in that. She did a really good job dialectically, and I thought that her attitude was dead on. I did a study of Dorothy Parker. My second wife rather did a one-woman show of her that a friend of hers wrote, and I was her production person and stage manager and ran lights for her and did all that sort of thing. So we paid for a vacation up and down the East Coast back in the late 90s doing that show. So
nice work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's very cool.
By the end of this the first episode, that is, we get some cool car chase sequences. We get a boat explosion. We get a heel turn.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful heel turn. It's great heel turn. It's classic in the spy thriller sense of that time. Absolutely.
So, guys, I was totally shocked by this heel turn at the end of this episode. What was you guys' first reaction?
The first time I saw it, I was a teenager, and I was too.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
like, the
delighted.
guy's shady, but you don't think he's like, you figure he's going to be upfront about getting his freedom back and not being wanted in 22 states or countries, 22 countries.
Because even when he shoots somebody, it's just like out of nowhere. And it's like, it's sort of like in
defense. Find out why he shot him later is because the guy can probably recognize him. So, but it's like when he shoots the guy, it's a sudden shocking thing, but you figure, oh, well, the guy just made a dumb mistake and shot him just in the heat of the moment. Yeah,
that's how it looks too.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really good job with filming that scene. And then the twist is such a great thing to leave off with to enter into two, and how they're going to top the twist a bit with a boat explosion.
Yes, of course.
It's
just explosion every 30 seconds in the climax.
For a show that had to work with so many restrictions, it's a big story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it works too, especially ending part one and going into part two, how they're still alive. And then they introduce us, surprise, Sebastian has a wife.
Sure.
But it comes across
as a wife and a mistress.
Yeah, a wife and a mistress. And then she has her own phone too to contact.
Of course, with the wall that flips around and the whole 9 yards. Now, who played the wife? Was that who I think it was? Was that Julie London?
I think
the one
it was.
That played his real wife?
I think it was.
I think it was Julie London. Yeah. Julie London, for those of you too young to remember, was a singing star of the 50s and 60s, who was also an actress, who became an actress in the 60s, and was well known to those of us who were growing up in the 70s as one of the stars of Emergency, the television series.
That's right.
The head nurse there. And her husband played the head doctor, Bobby Troop, who was a band leader, musician kind of guy as well in the 40s. So, yeah.
I'm looking something up real quick. So.
Cool. Yep. All good.
Yeah, she was.
Julie London, spelled
Yeah.
like the city.
Yep, Laura. Yep, Laura Sebastian, Julie
Yeah.
London.
Yeah,
Yep.
I thought it was her.
Good call. Good call. Her little phone flips up. Yeah, and then like I said, you got David McCallum, who's the one goes, oh my brother, my husband's in prison. He just walked in. He's walking right back out. It's
Yeah, forget
funny.
about it.
It's just like great.
It was a very
I
funny
don't have
show.
anything to do with this. Keeping all my lies straight here.
Yes,
And the humor in the show to me is pretty human.
It is.
You know, it's art satire, but at the same time, that's good character based humor.
It is. It doesn't require double takes or eye popping or any of that sort of thing. It's much more subtle than that. Most of it.
Jewel,
Yeah.
the episode you should see next is My Friend the Gorilla Affair. Trust me.
If episodes like this, man, I'll watch it for sure.
Well, Harlan Ellison wrote at least one episode, The Do-It-Yourself Dreadful Affair. He did, yeah. Harlan was a writer for this show.
Yep. And I'm sure that he got into fist fights with half the producers.
Everybody at Fox. I don't know. I've never heard of any Man from Uncle Frack involving Ellison. I think he might have been happy on that one.
Maybe he was, or kept his grumbles at a low flame.
I don't know the guy, but I'll defend him here by saying it is Fox.
Yes. Harlan Ellison was what you would call a misanthropic when it came to people who were trying to control what he thought he should be being done.
Okay.
Particularly with his writing, obviously. He's very
if you don't know Harlan Ellison, there is a documentary, and I'd love to talk about it with you guys. Maybe it's what we might look at next or something.
Yep.
It's called Dreams with Sharp Teeth. And it's got Robin Williams in it a lot. He and Harlan were friends.
Uh-huh.
And it's about Harlan in Hollywood, and good God, it's good.
Yeah, I bet it is, because he was an iconoclast when it came to the Hollywood scene. You know, he was not interested in that at all and was highly critical of it. But he was also, he had integrity. He had artistic integrity.
Interesting.
Speaking of artistic integrity, did you know that David McCallum's father was an orchestra leader, a conductor, and a musician, and so was David McCallum.
I knew David McCallum did some music.
He did music. He produced several albums as a musical director.
Talented man.
And I think he was like an oboist or something like that. You know, he was professional level stuff. So he was a very talented man. From Scotland.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, I have something I need to do. I have to give a friend a ride.
All right.
So I am going to beg off, but just let me know what we're doing next.
I did find Dreams with Sharp Teeth. So
it's a hell of a movie. It's really good.
Is it readily available?
Yeah, it's available. I'll send it to you guys.
Okay, great. Let's do that. And when will we do that?
Is tomorrow good for everybody?
It's good for me.
That's good for me.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Right. I'll talk to Alan about part 2 here.
Sure.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Yeah. Safe travels, Patrick.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. I have a question for you, Alan. What's like when you're dealing with like effects on stage, like what's the one concern you have maybe?
Safety, of course, is paramount. It is always paramount that you do safety. I've worked with guns on stage before. So, and on stage, you just have to realize that you're going to point the gun well upstage or downstage of the person, and from the audience, it'll look like you're pointing it right at them, that kind of thing. Even when you're dealing with blanks, you never point a gun directly at anybody. Oh, puppy needs to go outside. Oh, somebody's coming in. Okay. Julie must be coming in. So the dog is your doorbell, right?
Somebody keeps locking my door. I think it's one of my kids.
Oh, okay. I do that on my partner sometimes, so I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
Safety.
Safety. Yeah. Also, what you rehearse any special effects really well. I did a production of Dracula's Passion of Dracula at one point, and there is the use of pyro in it, where Dracula goes up in smoke, and then you see a skeleton collapse in this doorway. And the way it's done is you have smoke pots, and so as a director, I wanted to know exactly how these worked. So I was taught how the smoke pots worked and how to make them safe and how to do this and how much smoke powder to put in each pot. What a smoke pot is basically, it's just a little round cup with a wire running through it, and you put the smoke powder on top of it, and then when you're ready for it to go off, you just run a current through it, like a flame, and it lights on fire. And so learned how those function and I had a experienced pyro person on site all the time. And so that was kind of how I ran special effects. Anything that had anything to do with flame, obviously, you're also dealing with fire department or fire approval, that kind of stuff. You have to do that. And I was working with high school kids when I did this stuff.
Wow.
But my pyro guy wasn't a high school kid. Yeah, and he was somebody that worked at the high school that worked on productions and was very well versed on the play.
Yeah,
and he knew me because I'd worked with him doing summer stock theater, professional summer stock theater. So
I asked because we get even more effects here in part 2.
Oh my God, yes.
We get a helicopter scene with a tray, which is just amazing because all the white hair you get in this, which is just coloring, but you get all the cool effects with all these extras.
Yeah.
You get some obviously shooting, bang bang. What's some of your favorite stunts here in part 2 here?
Well, as you say, there's everything from gunplay to explosions to a rocket going off. The rocket is really kind of just kind of very inexpensively done. They have a mock-up of a rocket and they put it on a lift, and then they have a lot of smoke coming out of the steam or whatever coming out of the bottom of it, and then they cut to a real rocket, a piece of film of a real rocket going up and exploding. So that's easily and fairly inexpensively done for a television series.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of hand-to-hand and gunplay and everything else. All needs to be choreographed. All of it needs to be choreographed. Another advantage that you have with television is that you can break it up into, this is the 30-second bit. Here's what we're going to do in this 30 seconds or this 10 seconds or whatever it happens to be. You don't have to do it all at once. You can break it up, which is typically the way that stunts are done on television. It's done in small increments. Even modern films that do a lot of martial arts and stuff like that, most of the takes aren't really super long before you have a cutaway to another angle or something, or a close-up or something like that, and then back to the fight. So that's the way that's done, and it makes it safer if you can break it up that way. And it's choreographed just like dance, except it's not dance, obviously. It's throwing punches and karate chops and all this sort of thing. But you usually hire stunt people to do that kind of work, and I'm thinking that either they replaced a lot of the actors in those hand-to-hand scenes with stunt people, or they hired stunt people to be the actors, so that they were also the guys with the white hair, throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
so, and that's entirely possible. But that's what they do for most of them.
It would make sense if they did too, because it's like if you have to take a bump, you're already a stunt coordinator. It's good. You know how to fall.
Yeah.
I mean, because they put themselves through that training and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yes. Yeah. So I mean, and a lot of stunt performers have also done acting work of one kind or another. And stunt work is considered acting work in films. You know, they're members of the union and everything else. They're also members of the stunt union. So they get paid good money because they're also doing things that can get them injured, you know, when they're doing fights or falls or any of that sort of thing. So they get paid very well when they work.
Yeah, the combination of at the end of this of the shooting and the hand to hand is a lot of fun.
It is. It's a nice climactic sort of situation.
So this never got released as a movie?
I don't know if it did or not. It's a two-parter, so it might have someplace. I'm not positive. I'd have to look that up. A couple of them did. A couple of the two-parters did get released as films. Okay. I do know that. And I think like the first pilot got released as a film.
Yeah. At
some point, because it was like a two-parter.
Yeah.
But I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
Certainly could have been. I mean, this would have made a nice little film, nice little drive-in film.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I don't went and watch this and they did.
And we were still in the era of, you know, all the spy fascination. You know, I remember when I was a kid around this time. This was '67, so around this time there were like toy spy kits you could buy. You know. With the James Bond style guns in them and you know all this sort of other stuff. One of the spy kits I remember a friend of mine had like invisible messages and this sort of thing. So it was very much a fascination in the '60s for most of the '60s.
Yeah, I like how too. When by the end of this, Robert Vaughn's like, David McCallum's telling him all the other problems that are going. He says, "I'm going on vacation."
Yeah, he's always very deadpan like that, and it was funny. Oh, it was almost always funny. But McCallum, as Kuryakin, was very, very deadpan and not, you know, histrionic or any of that sort of thing.
Yeah, and even though he's not, he comes across as funny at times. Like little things he does, there's like some comedy within his.
Well, he gave him some of the best lines.
Yeah,
you know, in the series, he got some of the best lines, taglines. So yeah.
Have you ever seen him as Dr. Donald Mallard in NCIS?
When Ducky? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, when it started.
He was still on the payroll when he passed away.
Yeah.
And he was what, 90, 91, something like that, and he was still doing. I mean, he was still making himself available to do Ducky until he got ill and passed away.
Yeah, he was when he was first started at NCIS. He's like making all. He was just hilarious in that too.
Yeah, he was. He typically would talk about, you know, I'm going for this dinner tonight while he's like cutting into this cadaver and stuff like that. You know, I mean, it's strange. I guess he was on that show for like 20 years or something.
Yeah, he was on there for a long time.
Yeah. He was married to Jill Ireland once, you know. Yeah.
I read that actually.
And they didn't have any kids, and then he got married to another woman after Charlie Bronson married Jill Ireland, and was with her for like 50 years. You know, so
amazing actor for sure. Just him and Robert Vaughn were massively talented.
There's an antique mall not too far from where I live, probably about 15 minutes from where I live.
Cool.
And there's a toy section in it, and there's been a Man from U.N.C.L.E. section in that toy section from the 60s. So there's like the action figure of the two guys. And they like want real money for them, you know, like $150 a piece or something.
I know we have antique shops up here, so I'll have to look around.
You guys have tons of it. Pennsylvania's loaded with antique shops.
Yes, so we are.
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah,
it feels like one every 5 miles.
Yeah, I mean, Florida has a good share of them too. We have a Renegers, like you guys have a Renegers in Kutztown. And we have one in Mount Dora, which is a town about an hour from where I live. So.
Well, I know Connellsville, there's like two. There were two. I know there's still one. And like I know there was one at the in-town mall, so I don't know. I'll have to go.
There's a big outdoor one that happens. That's the Renninger's one that happens in Kutztown, and then there's one in Adamstown.
Yeah,
that also is a big complex.
and if you go to like a flea where am I thinking of Periopolis flea market, it's not necessarily specifically an antique one, but
No,
you
but
can
it has
find
some stalls that have antiques. Most flea markets do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're a great place. They're a great source to hit. Like if you want to go just outdoors and look around. So.
Yep. Used to do it a lot with my brother years ago.
Yeah.
So, I got a lot of Dark Shadow stuff that way.
What's some of your favorite scenes in part 2 here?
I would say, Lord, the whole. Again, it's the we were talking about stunts and special effects and all that stuff before. It's the whole thing that happens in the warehouse where the rocket is.
Yep.
That whole thing, and ending with the denouement where their boss shows up with a bunch of guys from the agency, which of course he always does. After it's all over, he shows up. Which is a familiar trope to me, and I get a kick out of that. But yeah, that whole action sequence at the end there, like that.
Yeah, I really like how they do completely make the heel turn for Sebastian, even more so in part 2.
Oh yeah, he becomes totally like a megalomaniac.
Oh,
He's like snaps his fingers, and if you don't obey him, you're done. Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
And killing all the guys with white hair and all the girls with gas. And,
it's like I don't want to have any trace of all this sort of stuff. So it's like
we can have a rocket.
You're a real jerk, buddy.
We can have a rocket headed in space, but we can't have a bunch of people around who told about it. Right?
That's right. Can tell the secrets of it.
Yeah. So.
Like, okay, all right, big jerk.
Yeah.
But he plays it straight, and it's absurd. Yeah. But in some ways it's absurd. In other ways it's like you just can't wait for him to get him, which they end up doing, of course. But kind of launched him. Literally launched him, actually. But that was quite fun.
It's like he's in the rocket.
Yeah. And it goes boom.
When I was watching, I was like, he's going. Oh shit, he's gone.
Yeah, seriously.
Like he was all the way.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, but what a fun 2-parter episode.
Absolutely, it's a romp. I mean, it's totally fun. It's got elements of everything in it. Yeah. It's got a little spy spoof, and it's got a lot of straight adventure. It's got caper, like the whole safe cracking thing, and it's got the Bond villain, as it turns out to be, the femme fatales, several of them, the damsel in distress, the triple take brother, each different brother shows up. So I mean, it's got a lot of fun stuff in it. It was well put together. They threw in everything, including the kitchen sink, I think, in this one.
This isn't going to be the only spy series Sid Haig appears in, by the way. He appears as basically a sultan in the original MacGyver. He's the one on the horse.
He had a long career.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he had a very long career.
Yeah.
At the end of his career, he became known for these psychopathic characters for the most part, like, Captain Spaulding and some other characters like that. But he took it all in good humor, and he added humor to those characters too.
Yeah, he did.
He was very good. He was. I remember the first time I really recognized him and knew who he was probably Jason of Star Command back in the day.
Yeah,
he played the bad guy in Jason of Star Command.
I first started to recognize him after he was in one of Rob's films.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because you got to recognize him when you go back and look.
Yeah.
So I do feel Rob introduced him to a younger audience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Sid was one of his company of actors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to add before we go, man?
No, it's great. It's a great piece of work. I in terms of this kind of television show, I give it a solid 9. For its era, maybe even a little better, but it still holds up. It's still fun to watch. So yeah.
Yeah, I give this a 9.5. It's really fun.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
The fact that you get the subtle humor within the characters. So, that's Alan Gallant. Patrick McCray signed off a little early. Links to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Calling Sport After Dark, is going to be in the description box. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day Book Unbound is going to be in the description box. Go pick that up if you haven't already. You guys have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Peace out. See you tomorrow.
See you, buddy.